In the second week, the installs have increased. I think on both sides of the ball, we've got a lot of situations in right now. Not all of them, but I think it affected play today, and then hopefully as we tighten it up, getting closer to Saturday, the play will get cleaner. Questions?
Kyle, you had mentioned that you wanted to do stuff with the quarterback to kind of create a little separation. Did that happen today? How did it break down?
It happened a little bit. We're still trying to give everybody, or not, I shouldn't say everybody. We're still trying to give the guys enough reps with the ones. I think more so the line than the receivers, because the receivers end up being on a rotation. But today you saw Mike and Chris were with the ones, and Gary and Blake and Devin were with the twos. So I think that'll probably be the last time we do that. And then when we come out on Thursday, I think we'll have a little bit more of a pecking order. But I don't necessarily think that we're ready to say 1, 2, 3, 4. But I think as we move through spring here, we're going to have to get closer to who's working with the ones, because that's the only way you're going to build your rhythm on offense.
Will some of that depend on that first scrimmage, or is that not as revealing as?
I think we're going to have a plan going into the scrimmage to get as much information out of the play as we can. I think right now, the numbers at receiver are a little bit of an issue. I know Ruhan went down today during practice. We got to see what happens there, and even in the secondary, Anthony, we thought would be able to go today, wasn't able to go. So, we'll update the injury list for you before Saturday. But the numbers are not allowing for the amount of reps we would like to have to really get what I would think of a more complete evaluation.
With the number issues, how much of an opportunity is it for the younger guys that are still healthy to actually
I think it's a great opportunity. I thought a guy like Desmond Peoples really took advantage of it today. Justin is good to go, but we didn't want to use him as much today. And it was really presented an opportunity for Desmond, and I thought he made the most of it. I was excited about it, the screen he caught. I was excited about the way he ran in middle drill, and then in pass protection, he made a really nice block on a strong safety blitz that I thought was good. It was, I think, I don't want to say it's the first time he's done it, but it was probably the best one that he's had. And I thought it jumped out at me. So I thought he really took advantage of his opportunity today.
Okay. What have you seen out of Janarian? Is he someone you want to get more involved on the offense?
I do. I think Janarian's got all the skills to do what we want him to do at receiver, whether it's in the slot or outside, because he runs so well. I think he's fighting the ball a little bit right now. I think the more he plays at receiver, the more he'll get used to the pace at which the ball is coming at him. Because I think he's got good hands, but I think just right now, it's the idea of putting it all together has maybe just slowed him up just a little bit. And that's not a surprise to me for a true freshman. Practice 4, I think by practice 8, he'll be a different guy.
Kyle, with the Chaffee, Barnwell, Stevenson trio that played probably more than they were expected to last year, is this where you start to see some of the benefits of that playing time, and how was their psyche, I guess, off last year since they got targeted a little bit?
We need to see the benefits of it. That's the reason. When you play a freshman, there's 2 things that happen. You're playing it out of necessity, but also it's an opportunity for those guys to get experience they normally wouldn't have. I think they're all confident athletes. I don't think that confidence will be an issue with any of those guys. To play corner in college, you need to have a very short-term memory, because you're going to play against good players every week, and sometimes the offense is going to make plays. But the great corners are the ones who don't let one play become 2 or 3 or 4. So I don't think confidence will be an issue. Am I seeing the benefits of that experience? I think a little bit. I think it's not just the playing in the games. It's the opportunity to practice the defense, week in and week out, that I really think gives those guys an advantage.
Can you talk about Dorian Miller's development since he's been here?
I think, like most young players, it's been inconsistent, although there was some flashes on Saturday. You got to see the film today, but on Saturday there were a couple flashes in one-on-one pass rush, one on a run play in 11-on-11 drills. That looked like the guy we were hoping to get when we recruited him. So he's working hard. He's a great kid. But I think right now, like a lot of freshmen, he's just a little bit inconsistent.
Who stood out as leaders in the offseason and into the spring?
That's a good question. I think we've got a bigger leadership group than we've had in the past, and I think that they did an excellent job of leading as a group. Guys like David Maluski, a guy like Darius Hamilton, they jump out immediately. But there's other guys. A guy like Stephen Longa, I think, is an excellent leader, although not as vocal maybe as those other 2 guys. I think probably the best way to judge a leader is to just watch the other people in the room when they speak, and when those guys speak, people listen. So I think that a guy like Michael Burton, would be in that category. When Michael might not be the loudest guy all the time, but when Michael speaks, you can see the attentiveness of the people around him.
Kyle, when you evaluate the quarterbacks, do you evaluate Gary differently because of his experience as opposed to the other three? that have not played in the game? Is there a different lens that you look at him compared to the other three?
I think it's two questions that you're asking. I think the first one, the answer is yes. I think somebody who has the experience of playing in games for 3 years like Gary has, you would expect him to advance further. But I think that's why I think giving the other players an opportunity to work with the ones becomes part of the answer to that question, because you do look at the other guys a little differently. Ultimately, the best quarterback plays, and does he have an advantage because of the experience he's had? Absolutely he does. But that's for any quarterback who's played all around the country. You know, they have that advantage at this point. You know, what we're trying to do is make sure that we give the other guys the opportunity to play with the ones, so we can really evaluate where we are now and where we think they can be at the end of spring, and then ultimately by the time we play Washington State.
How is the offense adjusting to Ralph as the OC and terminology and different, you know, what he wants to do? How are they doing?
Terminology is slightly different. I think they're getting used to his personality. I think that will be the greatest thing we'll gain this spring is those players understanding exactly what his expectation level is in terms of effort, in terms of execution. I think that'll be really good as we go through the spring for them to get to know him. And I think Ralph is also, as he runs the offensive part of practice and watches what's going on out there, it's given him an opportunity to see how he wants to shape the offense, because I think ultimately what we line up and do in the fall will be different than what we're doing this spring, because he'll know more about the personnel.
Thanks, Con.